So Xabi Alonso has been appointed the next Chelsea manager, signed on a 4-year deal. They'll begin working at the club on the 1st of July 2026 for the pre-season. They wanted someone in for the World Cup, we found out last week, and they've got that now. They've got this done. I think that's very important that they've got this done early to give them the full pre-season to get ready for next season. This does feel like a bit different to the other appointments that have been made by Blueco so far. I do think out of all the managerial appointments Blueco have made so far, I think this is the best one and the one that makes the most sense. And I'll get to why in a minute. Obviously, since Blueco have come in, they got rid of Thomas Tuchel, who everyone loved, club legend, and well, replaced him with Graham Potter, who was a complete disaster. Since then, we've seen them try multiple different managers. Ender Maresca worked in some ways, but then things come crashing down behind the scenes, and there was always something that never felt quite right, in my opinion. And then they bring in Brazilian, disaster right from the start, and now we're in a position where we're finishing the season, a very disappointing season under interim manager, and have also just lost the cup final, which is always tough at the best of times. So Xabi Alonso, this does give us just a bit of relief. You know, this did need to happen. I'm glad this has happened. Can't get too excited because there's so many problems that need addressing, but I am glad that he's been brought in, and it was the one that seemed like they wanted right from the start, and they've got him. Now, one thing I do want to say about this that I think could be different to the previous managers. Xabi Alonso is a proven winner as a player and manager. We've seen what he did at Leverkusen, and I think that's what all the talk's been about, is in terms of his managerial career so far, is the amazing job he did at Leverkusen, and how quickly he turned them around, how quickly he, within just over a year of being there, had them from a really sort of poor, really underwhelming team that was underperforming towards the bottom of the Bundesliga when he was brought in late 2022, and then was able to, within the space of that year, improves dramatically that year. The next year wins them the title, goes unbeaten, and wins them a double. So this shows you. And then even last season, his second season, the last season he was there, they finished second to Bayern as well. So I think he's done such a good job at Leverkusen. It's unbelievable. He's got to think he brought them their first ever league title in his first full season there, and I think that there's something there. Real Madrid didn't work out for whatever reason. He come in for Real Madrid, had half a season or so there this season, just didn't work out. But I'm going to forget about that, because a lot of managers have gone to Real Madrid and it just doesn't always work out. Not everyone can hack it at Real Madrid, and I do think maybe they got rid of him a bit prematurely. At the end of the day, they weren't going that terrible. It wasn't their usual standard, but he's still performing, I think, at a standard that probably wouldn't have got him sacked at most other clubs. You just don't get that time at Real Madrid to build a project, if you like. It has to just be a quick thing that gets them winning and competing straight away, season after season. I mean, the way we go through managers, we operate by a similar sort of that type of standard as well, but it's not quite. Yeah, Real Madrid is if you win, you win something and compete for everything, or you're gone pretty much. And we've seen that a lot of managers over the years. But I think Xabi Alonso, his Leverkusen team, they were always very fast, very pressing was always brilliant. I always thought those were really fast, intense team to watch. And one thing I noticed about them as well, which was always impressive, they could always come from behind in games. They were never really beaten. They liked the late goals. They always found something extra. They always had so much energy, and I think that's what this team desperately needs. Some gets like the intensity back, because that's what Brazilian was supposed to do, but it just didn't happen at all. And that's what multiple managers have tried to do, but it just hasn't happened. And we've got to stop this always playing back business. We've got to have a forward-thinking approach now. That's what I want to see from a new manager, and I think Alonso could bring that. And I think what's key about this is the fact that he has. Well, this is what I've heard from behind-the-scenes stuff. This is what I've heard that's been said online, and stuff that's been rumoured, stuff that's been going around. The sort of football chats and everything, right? What has always been clear is Blueco have dictated. When previous managers come in, they've dictated, they've controlled everything. They've said all the players coming in and out, it's all been down to them, everything. The whole way the club's been run, it's all been down to them. The managers had little to no say. They've just been told to manage the team. Maresca leaving, how much it had to do with that, I'm not sure, but it definitely had something to do with that. Thomas Tuchel saying he didn't, he's fallen out of them clearly right from the start. And what's been clear as well is his managers have turned away from the job because they wanted to build their own sort of team that wouldn't have fitted this image that Blue Co had, and wouldn't have worked alongside their kind of buying players and then selling them on for a profit later on. This whole club, the way the club's been managed, a lot of managers just wouldn't go for it. And what I have heard is Alonso said he'd be up for the job, but this is how it's got to be. This is how, you know, he's had his own ideas of how he wants to run this team, and that's how he said it's either, if you want me to take the job, that's how it's going to have to be. And I think that's impressive. No one's been able to do that so far. And I also think that might be finally a positive sign that this ownership might actually, well, I think they're going to have to now. Surely they're going to realise that they're going to have to let this manager like have much more of a say on the transfers, on the way the club's run. They're going to have to let this manager take charge and actually build his project. And that's what he said, Alonso, is he needs assurance that he'll be allowed to build his project. And that's the way to take the job. And just after a couple of days after hearing that, he's got the job. So I think that's a positive sign. And it could have been, it was announced pretty much just after the cup final. We could have done with it before the cup final, might have given us a bit of a boost. I mean, it is what it is yesterday. I mean, very, very disappointing. But in terms of Alonso coming in, I'm relatively pleased with this. I was, out of all the sort of candidates that were the realistic options for the manager, he was definitely right up there with what would have been my choice for the manager, I think. And it was clearly their favourite right from the start. It was just whether or not he could kind of get them to buy into what he wanted to do instead of the other way around, because he was never someone who was going to come in and just be told what to do by these owners. He was always going to have his own idea of how he's going to build his team, and that's what we need. We need a manager to come in and do that, who knows what they're doing. And well, there was obviously a lot of options available for next manager. One of the, like, Alonso's been the favourite for quite a while now. It's looked for quite a while like he would get it, but Marco Silva's right up there as well. And if it wasn't Alonso, I mean, Marco Silva's someone I would have really liked as well. Job he's done at Fulham when they pretty much sell all his best players, hardly make any transfers for him, and year after year he has him at least comfortably mid-table, usually push him for the European spots as well. He's done an unbelievable job there. I would have liked to have seen what he could have done at Chelsea. And yeah, I mean, Iriola as well. I mean, it would have been either, I mean, Xavi Hernandez I would have really liked as well, but out of the options that they sort of narrowed down to in the end, Iriola was there as well. Manager I really like. I think Iriola's got potential to be an elite manager, but was he ready for the move to Chelsea? A couple of really, really impressive years at Bournemouth. Was Chelsea, would it have been the best step up? It's hard to say. I think it could have gone really well, but I think between the two, I think it had to be Alonso, just because, you know, I think he fits the bill a bit more in terms of the proven winner, in terms of he's got that major trophy and that major winning experience under his belt as a manager and also as a player already. So I think he made sense. I think Cesc Fabregas, so impressed with the job he's done at Como. However, I do think maybe a bit too early. I think it would have, I think Fabregas, if this was a couple of years down the line, I think Fabregas would have been the one. But yeah, I mean, Oliver Glasner, is he a bit too much away as well from what these owners would want? Is he a bit too much of a dictator himself from what stuff I've heard about his time at Crystal Palace? And I'm also not sure he's going to stay in the Premier League. I think he might want to go back to Germany. I think that might be where he ends up going next season. So they were all the ones available. So I think Xabi Alonso makes a lot of sense. I think compared to the managers that they've brought in before, I think he's a very, very different character and a very, very different profile of manager. A big, big step up, and I think that's what we need. If someone to come in and really lay down a marker on this team and say, this is how it's going to be from now, and this is how my club's going to be run. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Alonso could do. I really am, because I think the job, I would never forget that job he done at Leverkusen. It was unbelievable. And like I said, he clearly has his ideas. He clearly has an idea of the project he wants to build, which I think is really important, that they let him. They give him the keys here and just let him take charge of this. Let him take charge of this transfer window as much as possible. You know, some players have been coming and going already, but you know, this is the next thing. I mean, it's going to be a big, big summer transfer window. There's so much that needs to be sorted out. I think the whole mentality of the club just needs to change, and I'm hoping that's what Alonso can bring. But a lot of changes need to be made to the team over the summer. A lot of players need to be brought in. Clearly, some need to be shipped out. I mean, this goalkeeping situation needs sorting out. I think we could, to be honest, 4 signings maybe. I think we could need to make. I know we've got someone loan at Strasbourg that could come back, could be good. But overall, we really do need to look at getting some experience into this team and look at getting just in certain areas some more quality, to be perfectly honest, and give this manager his team, give this manager the players he's going to need to play his system, his football, and get us back to where we should be, because that's what we need. Because this season has just been an absolute disaster, and so it's not been right at Chelsea for a long time now, let's face it. And I'm hoping Alonso could be the man to sort this out, and I'm looking forward to see what we can do. Like I said, I'm glad he's got the job. I mean, Marco Silva, I would love to have in charge as well, but I'm certainly not disappointed here with Alonso at all. I'm pretty happy, actually, he's got the job. So let me know what you think about this. Have Chelsea made the right move with Xabi Alonso in charge? Would you have gone for someone different? And what do you think he needs to do? What do you think's like the biggest thing he's going to have to sort out over the summer as well? I'd be interested to know.